Ask him. Pharmacists UK.
Welcome back. You're watching The Devi Show. Before the break, part one of our frank look into ivermectin. While we are asking relevant questions, the most important questions are, in our desperation, are we asking for trouble, or has an effective treatment for COVID-19 been right under our noses all this time?
People are dying today. More people will die tomorrow.
Despite the groundswell of patient and doctor testimonies and emerging trial data, our medicines regulator, SAHPRA, has not sanctioned ivermectin for use in the fight against COVID-19. Their CEO, Dr. Boitumulu Samete Makokotlela, explained that they are being cautious due to safety concerns.
We as a regulator have to ensure that whatever that is out there, we can give the public confidence. And that is the core thing to us as a regulator. We must give you confidence that it's effective and it's safe.
The way things are going, with looking at the second strain, there may be a third wave, fourth wave, who knows? It looks like some people are going to die or get it anyway. You see what I mean?
Not fully. I mean, it's a very complex situation.
SAHPRA says they're going as fast as they can.
I'm sure they are, but I think the virus is going just as fast.
But some doctors, like Durban-based GP Mags Mudley, support SAHPRA's stance.
Does ivermectin cure it, or do people get better on their own? Because that's the nature of the virus.
He warns about the risks of self-medicating.
But there is a list of about 40-odd drugs that can interact with ivermectin. So, and the top one then is warfarin.
As it stands, we have seen arrests of people with ivermectin tablets at our airports, and some pharmacies have been put on a watch list.
If a physician or a doctor had to prescribe an animal medication for humans, and it would be professional misconduct if a pharmacist dispenses such a drug to a human.
But you know what? If you spend your time and resources arresting people at the airport, take some of that resources and put it into getting the facts straight and just checking how you can help move the process, not hinder it.
Even though some states in India and several other countries have already rolled out ivermectin with zinc and doxycycline in their fight against the virus. Even in Zimbabwe, doctors are sharing vlogs to spread the word.
You have day 5 to day 11, that's 6 days of being unwell. In those 6 days, you can get in your silver, your ivermectin and your doxy, and you never even get to the stage of being hypoxic. If you don't get hypoxic, you don't need to run around Harare with $960 for 3 liters of oxygen.
I said in my letter, ivermectin is not a miracle drug, but I said it was a safe drug. So I'm saying if you give hope back to the people and give trust back to us, so we will give it to the people who we think it's going to help.
Professor Colleen Aldous of the College of Health Sciences, University of KwaZulu-Natal, has scrutinized the trial data and says she doesn't share the regulator's sentiments around safety. And her research has shown limited side effects.
There were around 1,500 serious adverse events. Of those, most of them were itchiness, vomiting, diarrhea, etc. There were 500 CNS, central nervous system problems, and 2 people were recorded as having died. And their deaths were not related directly to the drug.
And SAHPRA says when a drug is repurposed, as in this case, dosage becomes an issue.
Right. I mean, there is some data that indicates that the current doses that are approved for other of these topical infections is way too low for what you would require for COVID. You need almost 100 times more, right? So you need to do those studies to say, what dose do I need? In what category of patient?
That's true. Dosages have been worked out for human consumption on parasitic diseases. Now we're in a new situation. Dosages had been worked out for some viral diseases like dengue fever. But when I looked at all the trials, the dosages are different. There are lots of different trials, but we can look at what's happening in the trials, look at what other countries are doing, and we can come up with a dosage.
What is of greater concern is the proliferation of the drug on the black market.
I've heard in Durban prices from 1,000 to 2,000 rands a tablet. And if I were to fall ill, I'd pay 5,000 rands per tablet. I mean, really, and I know people will pay that there because, I mean, you're talking about life and death.
But that's also opened the door for counterfeit products.
And the issue with black market products naturally is going to be the counterfeit products that you don't know what they put in the tablets to actually make the tablets. There might not even be ivermectin, most likely no ivermectin in the tablets. And people are going to be ingesting these things. So you create a serious sort of collateral issue. They could have been avoiding it by just giving control to physicians to prescribe the medication.
And for me, that's where the real danger lies, because people are desperate, they're buying it, they have no idea what's in it.
Yeah, and that is the danger, and we've got our law enforcement team on it. But it's important that we reflect on the rule of law, right? That's why we've got regulators, because we cannot make decisions based on public sentiment, on emotion. Because if something goes wrong, our heads are on the block.
Since the tablets are not legally available, many people are turning to the veterinary liquid form and using it orally or rubbing it onto their skin.
The only difference is that obviously the human form has to be a tablet because that's what we take. The animal form is that animals don't necessarily take tablets, so you have to inject it.
While the active ingredient is the same, the solution it comes in could pose some risks.
And those excipients can be dangerous. They're not dangerous in all of them, but the excipients, I've heard people call them antifreeze. You don't want that in your system.
So people are using ivermectin across the country. They're not going to wait for SAHPRA to give it a green light. What advice do you have for them?
I think it's very dangerous to take any medication without your doctor's prescribing it, without the doctor actually knowing what you're taking, other drugs, what your comorbidities are, etc. I think it's irresponsible, but I do understand the desperation of society.
Currently, the only way to access ivermectin tablets is by using a Section 21 application, which doctors say presents a lengthy, bureaucratic nightmare. This despite the fact that the National Institute of Health in the United States relaxed its prohibition on the 14th of January to neutral.
They're neither against or for the use of ivermectin. So essentially, they've left it up to the doctor.
Then in worst case scenario, we'll save 34% of the people, as opposed to what the studies are showing, 75% of the people. 75% of the people, that's 7 out of 10 people. Great, we've definitely won. But even if we save 3 people, Devi, that could be your mother, that could be your father, that could be the president.
What should we do? Should we unban ivermectin, put it out there, get doctors to prescribe?
From my point of view is we're dealing with a safe drug. We need to probably step away from egos. I believe that right now, the only thing that's preventing like an immediate reversal of the decision is that people are scared to lose face. And they feel like if they do capitulate, it's going to look exactly like that.
As we've been talking, lives have been lost. During our half-an-hour conversation that we've had, people have died as a result of COVID. People say they have nothing to lose.
While we fully understand, we have a mandate to ensure that whatever products that patients are taking is a product that we can say it's safe and it's efficacious. We're saying we are awaiting data, that information.
So by Feb, do you think by Feb we'll have this all wrapped up and before the beginning of Feb?
We really are hoping so.
While we wait for the vaccine, doctors and patients are arguing for the right to choice.
Bring in the stockpiles. Because if all the trials that are now going to come through, if they do prove that this does work, I mean, yes, we have the manufacturers, but are we going to be able to lay our hands on enough raw materials?